Final adoption, 2024 budgets. For adoption, the 2024 budgets inclusive of the following: the operating funds budgets, expenditures totaling $59,207,207,229. Capital projects.
All right.
Expenditures totaling $4,452,584. And the special funds budgets expenditures totaling $8,156,441.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notes?
No.
And for budget resolution for adoption, resolution number 23-042.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
No.
The tax levy resolution number 23-043.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
No.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Preempt the potential of a comment, on the budget. I did note that we combined all three, funds together, whereas previously we had kind of done it, individually. I do continue to have reservations on the capital, project fund, but nonetheless, it is a budget that needed to be passed. It's a budget, that I'm comfortable of saying did not in this year, need a tax increase. And I would ask the public that, as you concern yourself with the potential for a tax increase, which is imminent in the next year or two, the county will need one. But for this year, if you look at the general fund cash balances, but more importantly, if you look at the monthly cash flows, the debits and credits, you'll see we are in good shape. But that doesn't, say that if action isn't taken within the next couple of years, we could be, challenged. That's all I have.
I could dispute that somewhat with a $5.3 million plus deficit again this year. Taking the general balance down to just over $1.5 million. And as you saw in the agenda again today, we passed how many things that are increases. Healthcare alone this year is going to be $550,000 more than last year. We passed another item on the agenda costing $10,000 a year more. We're looking at a salary increase, which is going to cost a great deal of money. And how can you continuously operate a budget at a deficit of over $5.5 billion? I want to remind the public that our income over the years from real estate taxes have not gone anywhere, have not been significant enough to offset the expenditures. This year alone, its projected revenue is only $168,000 more in tax revenues to pay all these additional expenses. We pass for an expenses in maybe 2 weeks, sometimes in 1 week, that exceeds that amount. And I cannot see us continuously spending all that money. You're right. We will have to do a tax increase. If nothing is done before next year, we are looking at a 3 mil tax increase. My comment to you, gentlemen, is if you want to spend money, step up to the plate and take responsibility for the tax increases. That's all I have. Meeting adjourned. Hey, 13.
So what would you like to see with this budget then? Can you
want a tax increase this year, or are you proposing one for?
We should have been doing a minor tax increase, maybe over the last 2 or 3 years, even a $500,000. People will accept maybe a $500,000, but you turn around next year and have to increase the taxes, by 3 mils. You know, that's gonna hurt people more than anything. $500,000 3 years ago, that would have put us probably about, 250 ahead. You know, 250, $2.5 million roughly, correct? You know, ahead, we'd still have that fund balance, and maybe we could have waited at just minor adjustments over the years. But now you're just pushing it off, and we're just gonna have one huge increase. Last year, we had to borrow how much money for tax anticipation note in lieu of a tax anticipation note, and pay $39,000 interest. Yes, it was paid off early, but how much of those funds are we gonna have available yet that, excuse me, this year yet to do that, tax anticipation note from the time January 1st expenses up until April when we start receiving, revenue. So I think you're putting the public at more risk by not doing a little bit of increments over a period of time and nailing them all at one time. I think it's a great disjustice to the taxpayers of this county.
And my opinion of it is, we just have to stop overspending. And I think everybody has the same comment, or I give the same comment every week. We're entering into projects and we're giving money to other people outside our employees, that it should go to the employees. And I'll stand on that any day of the week. And if you look at the budget, there's enough money in there to give salary increases. There's projects in here that will probably never get done. And there's even projects in here that are costly that we are getting reimbursed half, as grants. So I don't see the reason why, we would need to increase taxes. And I think it's time to put the brakes on spending and invest more in our employees. I mean, like I said, we're giving money away where we shouldn't be giving money away. And it's time to put the brakes on it.
Well, why
It's time
didn't
to
you
give it-
make those suggestions this year?
Wayne,
Mr.
I've been
Honor?
saying that to you
Where-
and you
but
don't listen.
have yet to come up with any one issue and say, let's cut this by so much. You have yet to do that.
Okay, you look at this, and this is on the budget. Are we going to do the bridge here? No, we're probably not gonna, because it has to be engineered. Nobody did it. This vault is on there. We're probably getting reimbursed for half of that money. There's so much on here, and there's enough money in there to give people a decent salary this year. And I said, it's time to put the brakes on overspending. Overspending, taxing people is a problem when you're wasting money. If we have to tax people that we have to, that we need the income, but I just can't see taxing people and wasting the money. Every project that we work on, if there's contingency in there, whatever that contingency is, that's what we spend. We okay contracts, and we didn't even enter into this project. In fact, we even took some of this out of this budget that we were taking the parking funds, and I think that was one of Chris's issues with the parking fund, maybe going into the general fund. And that should be used for things, the parking fund, maybe for the bridge, you know, and things like that. Use your head on what the expenses that we should use. And I said, it's time that we sit down here and quit wasting money and putting it on to the taxpayer. And the tax that was presented before was a tax that was going to probably take us until 2027. Why are we taxing people for 4 years from now? If we're gonna tax them, then bring that thing up. You could have brought it up before. Okay, $500,000 every year, but every 4 years with the county, it's like tax the crap out of the people. And then it's the tax that we're benefiting on for 2027. Why are we taxing people before the tax is even due? Plain and simple.
Plain and simple, the bridge, you agree, has to be replaced, whether it's
Exactly.
this year or next year. It's work that has to be done. What about the 2 roofs that have to be replaced or repaired?
No.
That's not in there yet, is it? That
And
just came up this month.
that's what I said. You have to pick your priorities that have to be fixed. The roof has
If
to be
we
fixed.
have the fund balance, we're gonna have to worry about that. And that's my point. If you have sufficient fund balance, you can do these projects when they crop up. We've been told that we can't get parts to this elevator anymore. They're no longer available. It broke down twice this year. Are we gonna be faced with replacing it? Yes or no? Yes or no?
You know, there is $400,000 in there for projects that are unforeseen projects. And that doesn't mean we have to spend the 400,000 in January.
Okay.
I think as we see where we're at, right now, with the budget, I'm sure there's a little bit of regret, from January 6, 2020, when a motion was made to reopen that budget, right? There was an opportunity to look at the budget, reassess the necessity of some of the costs associated with that. I was fortunate, having the opportunity for fiscal years 2017, 18, 19, and 20 to review the budget. I think probably one of only two citizens who actually looked at the budget from as best I can tell. And I was confident in 2020, in January, when I came in, that the county could comfortably and responsibly not tax the citizens for a 4-year period. And I'm glad that Commissioner Arner has stood with me these past 4 years to help ensure that we are being responsible and we are taking care of the citizens of Carbon County and only increasing taxes when it's absolutely necessary. Now, that time is coming, but it hasn't been these past 4 years.
But the increase, what you're suggesting, will be a lot higher than the $500,000 or $250,000 here and there. Is that correct?
I
How
cannot
much
assess
mil
that.
is it gonna take to make up that 5?
I don't know how you can say that because we don't even know what we're gonna, or any balance is gonna be in December next year.
And you don't plan for the future. That's my point, which you made a point to point out to me
Yeah.
that I do not look at the future.
No.
You are not looking at the future.
I think.
Any other questions, Wayne?
No, I think, Commissioner, that what actually will happen is you don't have to start building up that carryover all in one fell swoop. You do it incrementally. Maybe you go with $250,000, $500,000, next year and then wait a year and do it again. But what you're wanting to do is, again, fill the bucket completely up in one fell swoop. And again, you still have to look at the debits and credits, the flow of cash in and out every month, not simply the carryover money. Now, if the county would start doing multi-year forecasting, you would be able to predict with high reason or high probability what increases are necessary. But we continue to do 1-year budgeting. And again, it's always an emergency because of that. We don't forecast multi-year.
I wish you'd make up your mind. You just suggested quarterly, small increments, in which is what I projected. Spend it down gradually and adjust as needed over the years. But you failed to do that. That's my point.